Hello, everyone. Today is January 18th, 2026, and it has been 11 days since Secretary Kennedy presented the U.S. new dietary guidelines. Oh, it's a food pyramid which is turned upside down, and you have red meat and stuff at the top. And the thing with these guidelines is basically they suggest the opposite to the old dietary guidelines. And I think I mentioned this before. I was really surprised when this happened because couldn't expect that Secretary Kennedy would take such a huge leap forward from my point of view. I was also revealed because these news are very positive because we have spent I think 15 years trying to convince or implement more science-based information into the dietary guidelines. But it has been almost impossible because the dietary guidelines are so political and so ideological. And I'm in Finland, which is the epicenter for dietary guidelines. So remember, in 2023, the WHO presented what they called Nordic dietary guidelines. And if you read it, it's just a reiteration of the stuff that they presented in 1980. But why is dietary guidelines so important here in Finland? Well, in 1972, Finland implemented or started something called the North Kerala Project. Now, Finland was part of something called the Seven Country Study. Sweden was not, my home country. And some few years afterwards, when they implemented the information, something really scary happened. The prevalence of Alzheimer's, it's a kind of dementia where you start to lose your memory, very simplified, started to increase. In the early 1970s, Finland had a very few cases per capita. And now, present day, the prevalence is 5 times as high compared to 1975-ish, which is rather scary. That indicates it must be something more than biology. Adding to that, the EU and the OECD presented a report in 2023 when they described causes of death in all the member states. So I looked at Sweden and Finland because we share genetics and history. And the data show that 10% of those who died in Sweden died of Alzheimer's. In Finland, 20%. So it's 100% more per capita. Not only that, 10% of those who die in Sweden die of ischemic heart disease. Ischemic heart disease is lack of oxygen. Finland, 15%, which means it's 50% more. So taking it all together, it should be something that has to do with environment, probably what you eat. Because I spoke to a neuroscientist, was it last year, and we talked about the low-fat dogma here in Finland and the fear for saturated fat. And he said, wow, he said, the brain needs saturated fats to be able to produce myelin. So myelin is a white substance, I think it's a fat, which make possible communication between neurons in the brain. So a neuron is a nerve cell in the brain. So I mean, these new dietary guidelines should be a sort of slam dunk for Finland, because Finland has one of the sickest population in the European Union, and because people can't are sick, it affects school performance in a negative way, research, and very few people work actually. So the national budget has a deficit, or what do you call it, GDP, every year. It's been like this for 20 years, according to politicians. But no, 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 no. Um, the nutrition scholars at University of Helsingfors, my former colleagues, they were interviewed a couple of days ago about this, and they claimed that the new American dietary guidelines was unscientific. How is it possible for them to say that? Well, I give you a hint, which I can talk more about, or maybe I already have. It's something called continuous influenced effect. It basically means that you know you're wrong, but you keep promoting that information. And I mean, these people have built their career on low fat, low meat consumption, claiming it was dangerous. Now, science reject all those claims. And the funny thing is, they know it. And they just can't admit they were wrong. And the price, well, that's for the Finnish population to pay. So, you can guess why I don't have any research money anymore. But I'm offering my master classes to people who want to improve their health, to organizations who want to improve their performance. And I can talk about all of this in detail if you like. So feel free to connect with me. See you next time.